All right, folks, week 2 of the NFL preseason concludes with the Jaguars taking on the Saints in New Orleans. The Jags lost by 2, final score 23-21. It was close, right?
It was, and I mean, it is the preseason. Let's bring in sports director Chris Porter. He joins us live from Porter's Place. So Trevor Lawrence got the start last night, and we of course want to talk about that. But first, we understand, Chris, you have some breaking news.
Yeah, Jaguars rookie running back Travis Etienne has a mid-foot sprain, according to reports, and he's going to be out indefinitely. He is the 25th overall pick. The Jaguars selected back in April's draft. Now, we know that Urban Meyer wanted to use him as running back / wide receiver like he did in Percy Harvin during his days at Florida. But again, a mid-foot sprain for Etienne, out indefinitely. Hopefully, we know they're going to do some more testing. Hopefully, though, the injury is not as serious as being reported. So that is the big news. As for the Jaguars and quarterback Trevor Lawrence, second start of the preseason came out very, very slow. You know, before we really talk about his struggles early on, let's keep in mind that Trevor Lawrence was without 2 of his starters along that offensive line and one of his top receivers in DJ Chark. But one thing we know that the Jaguars are going to have to do, offensive coordinator Darrell Bevell is going to have to, number one, they've got to figure out their offensive identity. And what is the number one thing that you can do to help a young quarterback? Run the football. The Jaguars have not been able to establish the run game at all during the preseason. We know we've got second-year running back James Robinson, who was a stud last year on a 1-15 team. You got Carlos Hyde, the veteran there. So the Jags have got to get physical to try and help take some of the pressure off of Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence pressured 42% of his passes. To give you some perspective here, the league average is 26%. But the good news is, as the game progressed, Lawrence appeared to get better. And that's what you want to see. But at the beginning and the end of the day, the Jaguars, the offensive coaches, have got to find a way to find the running game and get this offense an identity.
Look, I'm just going to keep on telling myself it was just a preseason game, okay? Chris, briefly, we have to talk about Jameis Winston. He's battling for the Saints starting job at quarterback, and last night he lit up the Jags defense. How concerned are you about the Jags D, by the way?
I'm just going to keep it 100. I know it's the preseason, but I have not been impressed with the Jaguars defense, and it was just too easy. Jameis Winston and Marquez Callaway made it look too easy for the New Orleans Saints, and they played their starters. And here's why I'm concerned, because in our first preseason game, the Cleveland Browns did not play any of their big-time starters on offense, which means there was no Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Baker Mayfield, and Case Keenum, the backup quarterback, and those second-string guys were able to move the ball effectively against our Jaguars defense. And our number one problem last year, and I'm seeing it in these first 2 preseason games again, is our inability to get pressure on the quarterback. Keitha, you can go get all the all-star, Pro Bowl, prime-time cornerbacks and safeties you want to get, but if you do not consistently get pressure on the quarterback, they won't have a chance. And by the way, Jameis Winston, because of his performance last night, no matter what Sean Payton says, he won that Saints starting quarterback position. But the Jags defense has got to find a way to get pressure on the quarterback, or it's going to be rough.
And the Jags do have a quick turnaround. I mean, they hit the road to tackle the Dallas Cowboys here. Now, here's the question with this game and what we were debating during the commercial break. Do you play Trevor Lawrence in the final preseason game, risk an injury like we now have with Etienne? But he also seems to need some of that practice. So it seems like a catch-22. What do you think?
Yes, you play Trevor Lawrence in the last preseason game, and no, you do not play scared. And I'm not saying play him a whole first half like you did on last night, but the kid needs some reps. And we're hoping that maybe against Dallas, he can go out there, put together a couple of good drives so that he can go into week 1 with some confidence. I think whenever you play scared, that is when you get injured. And the young man needs some reps, because we need this young man to be as good as possible when we hit the road against Houston week 1. Here's the deal. The other big thing is this whole so-called quarterback competition. In my opinion, there's never been a quarterback competition. And when you look at Gardner Minshew's and Trevor Lawrence's numbers in these first 2 preseason games, they are very, very similar. But at the beginning and the end of the day, Trevor Lawrence, that strong arm, that tall ceiling. He's the guy you got to go with. He's the guy that needs to be named the starter. Hopefully Urban Meyer will do that this week, but I say you play the young rookie because he needs some reps, and this offense so desperately needs to put together 1 or 2 good drives before we get to the regular season, although they'll have 2 more weeks to prepare before they play the Texans in Houston week 1.
All right, hopefully those 2 weeks, some type of miracle will happen. We'll get it together in the end, right? Chris, we always appreciate you for waking up dark and early with us. We're going to roll on into weather right now with meteorologist Lauren Routenkrantz.